In this video, I'd like to show you guys one of the potential ways that you can wire up the no touch exit button together with the ACDC25 access control power supply units. Just keep in mind before we begin that there are a number of ways to wire it up depending on the situation, depending on what type of biometric devices are there, depending on what type of exit buttons you find, what type of triggers are on the relay essentially. And all that different types of wiring takes place here on this relay board. Just on the power supply, you can see it's got these two fly leads here that connect up to a battery. Obviously, we don't have a battery connected for demonstration purposes, but what makes this a very good power supply is that when the load shedding takes place, whatever lock or device or biometric device you have powering up from it will still be able to operate for a couple of hours. The mains electricity comes in via this black cable here. You can see I've got my 220 coming into the board itself. And like I said, all of the different relay options are wired up here on this side. Now, just very quickly about the locks, if we just have a good understanding, I've wired it up for demonstration purposes on this striker lock. Now, a striker lock does not require electricity in order for it to operate. What happens is that when the power is supplied, the lock actually unlocks, whereas a magnetic lock requires the electricity in order to remain in the closed position. So a striker lock is a fail secure device. That means when the power switches off, the system will still remain secure. The building will remain secure. You'll need a key or the power to be restored in order to access it. Whereas a magnetic lock draws power currently. So when the power switches off or there's no more battery left, the device will switch off and then the door will remain open. So ideally speaking, in a perfect world, you would want striker locks on all your external doors so that if power fails, no one can come into your office. Whereas a magnetic lock, you would want on your internal door so that if there's a power failure or an emergency or a fire, the door would then unlock and people can escape the building itself. So how I've wired this up, obviously this device needs electricity. It runs at 12 volts, so obviously it must be connected up to positive and negative 12 volts to send electricity. But now I need to also send power to my lock. Now 12 volts, you can see there, I've taken the ground, I run the ground back into here, which is then connected up, if you look here at the back, onto the common port that's plugged in there. Then the normally open relay port runs then back when it connects up to this blue wire here, which then runs through to my lock itself. So what happens is the power is running into this device. Now it's not being allowed to continue its journey into the lock because the relay remains in the open position. However, I put my hand in front of it. You can see the indicator goes red, just like that. And then it allows the electricity to continue its journey into the lock, which then enables the solenoid to move. So I'll show you that from a practical perspective. Right now, there's no electricity coming into the lock. You can see it's pretty shut down. But the minute that I wave my hand, see, power's gone again. Now I can open my door and then, oh, power's gone. So now I can't open my door anymore. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's a bit of a clicky noise. That's the power, the relay in here being closing and then obviously allowing electricity, and the solenoid in here obviously depressing so that the lock can be opened itself. The opposite would be applicable for a magnetic lock. You would have the electricity continuing its journey into the lock, thus keeping the lock on. Whereas when you close the relay, it would then break the circuit, switch off the power to the magnetic lock. So a striker lock is wired up in the normally opened, whereas a magnetic lock is wired in normally closed fashion. I hope this is going to help you guys on site and it'll help you do the installation. Like I said, there's many other ways depending on what you're trying to do and what you find on site. But this is one of the more simpler ways in order to get this working for your customers. If you've got any questions or you need some help with wiring it up, get in touch with us. We'll do our best to help you. Have a wonderful day.